Hello again. It's good to have you here. The room is quiet tonight, isn't it? Just the soft whisper of the fire and the gentle ticking of the clock. I have another book in my hands tonight. The pages are old and smell of paper and time. It's filled with stories that are more than just words. They are lessons. There is one story in particular I want to share with you. It's a simple story, but its message is one of the most important I have ever learned. It's about a man, a mountain, and a dream of gold. It's a story about being so close to success, you could almost touch it, and then walking away. Our story begins a long time ago during the Great Gold Rush. A man, let's call him Arthur, was filled with excitement. He heard stories of people finding fortunes buried in the ground. So he sold everything he had, said goodbye to his family, and traveled west to Colorado with a dream shining in his eyes. After weeks of searching, he found a piece of land. He felt it in his bones. "The gold is here," he said to himself. He bought machines and tools and started to dig. The work was incredibly hard. The sun was hot and his muscles ached every single day. He would dig and dig and dig. For a while, his excitement kept him going. Every rock he moved, he imagined finding a shining vein of gold underneath. He worked for weeks, which turned into months. He dug deeper and deeper into the hard earth. But he found nothing, only dirt, rock, and disappointment. The dream that once shone so brightly in his eyes began to fade. The work was no longer an adventure, it was a punishment. His mind filled with doubt. "Maybe I was wrong," he thought. "Maybe there is no gold here. Maybe I am just a fool." Finally, one day, covered in dust and sweat with his hope completely gone, he threw down his pickaxe. "I'm done!" he shouted to the empty mountain. "I quit!" He was tired, he was broke, and he felt defeated. He packed his bags and sold all his expensive machinery to a local junk man for just a few $100s. He took the train back home, his dream now a bitter memory. He felt like a failure. Now the junk man was not a miner, but he was curious. He thought, this man dug for so long. Maybe he missed something. So the junk man decided to get some advice. He hired a mining engineer, an expert, to look at the mine. The engineer walked into the deep hole Arthur had dug. He looked at the rocks and took some measurements. After a short time, he came out and said to the junk man, "The first miner was not a failure. He just didn't know about fault lines." The engineer explained that based on his calculations, the vein of gold was still there. It had simply shifted. He said, "Tell your men to start digging again from where the first miner stopped, but tell them to dig in a slightly different direction." The junk man followed the expert's advice, and do you know what they found? Just 3 feet from where Arthur had stopped digging, they struck gold, one of the biggest veins of gold ever discovered in Colorado. The junk man made millions and millions of dollars from the mine that Arthur had given up on. Arthur was just 3 feet from gold. 3 more feet. That's about the length of one big step. All that work, all that struggle, and he stopped one step away from his dream. This story is so simple, but it feels so powerful. Because we are all Arthur sometimes, aren't we? We start something new with great excitement. A new job, learning a new language, a health goal, a personal project. We dig and we dig. We put in the work. But when we don't see results quickly, the doubt creeps in. The work feels hard. We get tired. We start to believe that maybe our goal is impossible. We tell ourselves, "I'm just not good enough," or "this is not working." And so, we quit. We stop just when things get the most difficult. But what the story of the miner teaches us is that the most difficult point is often right before the breakthrough. The darkest hour is just before the dawn. We are often just 3 feet from gold when we decide to give up. One of the most important lessons in life is this: temporary defeat is not permanent failure. Hitting a wall of rock does not mean there is no gold. It just means you might need to change your direction slightly. You might need to ask for help, like the junk man did. He asked an expert. He found a new way. Failure is only permanent when we decide to quit. Quitting is a final decision, but struggling, feeling tired, or being disappointed, those are just feelings. They are temporary states. They are part of the digging process. Think about something in your life right now that feels hard, something you want to give up on. Before you do, think of Arthur. Ask yourself, what if I'm only 3 feet from gold? What if my big success is waiting just on the other side of this difficult moment? Sometimes all we need is the persistence to dig for one more day, to take one more step, to make one more call, to study for one more hour. The treasure of life, our personal gold, is often hidden behind the thing that looks most like failure. So, when you feel like quitting, remember this story. Remember the man who owned a mountain of gold and never knew it. Let his lesson be your strength. Be patient. Be persistent. And when you feel like you can't go on, decide to dig just 3 more feet. You might be surprised by the treasure you find.